So first, welcome everyone to our first interview with the ACW Alliance of Channel Women board members. Ashley Cole is the first volunteer, so excited to have her on. And the goal here is really just to introduce you to our board members who are amazing. I've asked them to each think of a topic that resonates with them, something they really want to speak on, that also aligns with the ACW theme this year, which is Be Bold. So Ashley, we're going to get into your conversation here in a second. But first, as we get started, I'd love to let everyone understand who Ashley Cole is, what you do both in the channel, so what your role is, but then also what you do for ACW.
Sure. So my 9 to 5, or actually my 24-hour role is with FusionConnect. I am a senior channel manager covering the Southeast. And for ACW, I am a member of the board. One of the newest members. I guess we did just take on a new board member recently. And I'm also the events committee chair.
Excellent. Yes, our roles are kind of 24 hours now in this remote
They
world,
are.
right? In the travel world. So, well, you do a lot for ACW. I know events committee does a lot of great things. So thank you for all that all the time and effort you put in there.
Love it.
So really what we want to talk about today is, I know you're in a sales role, as you just mentioned. So really some of Ashley's thoughts on sales. So first of all, can you tell us how long you've been in a sales role?
Well, I've been with FusionConnect 12 and a half years and in a sales role for 6 of those.
Awesome. So I would say maybe not a complete expert, but you're definitely knowledgeable because you've been successful in those 6 years. So speaking of success, what would you say in these last 6 years has been a key lesson you've learned that's helped you be successful?
There's a lot of things that have helped, but one of the biggest things that I've learned and constantly work at is active listening. So instead of anticipating what someone's going to say and knowing what my answer is going to be, thoroughly just taking in what I'm hearing, and then asking questions or having them expand upon things that may not be fully making sense or may have questions about, but really just active listening and really figuring out, what the partner or end user is truly looking for.
That's great advice. Being present, I think it takes a lot of
Yes.
being present, which can be hard. Sometimes exhausting, right? But it allows you to truly get to the meat of the issue or the problem, their pain point, I guess, whatever it may be. So,
Right. Yeah. Because some people, if you notice, like some people will ask for something, but then in conversation, you'll start hearing something different. So being able to truly actively listen and get to the bottom of, what their actual need is.
that's awesome. Great advice. So what would you say if you could give us an example? I think a lot of times as salespeople, and I've been in a sales role for almost 2 decades now. So a while in different types of roles, started in retail, but sometimes salespeople get a bad rap, right? Of being too salesy and trying to maybe shove a product or service down someone's throat. So what would you say could you give us an example of what it means maybe to take the selling out of sales?
Sure. So, and this is especially true for channel, right? So channel's all about relationships and relationship building and being a true partner, and being an advocate for someone. So instead of looking at each opportunity as a sale, really looking at it as, hey, I'm trying to gain this lifelong partner, this lifelong relationship, and showing that, hey, I'm not a salesperson. I'm an advocate for you. I'm an advocate for your company, for your productivity, for your efficiency, your bottom line is my bottom line, like really just not trying to sell, but instead being that lifelong partner. And I think that really, it makes it more enjoyable and it makes the job more fulfilling to really kind of not look at it as sales. So like when my partners or when I meet someone on the road, and they ask what I do, it's kind of funny because, I will tell them that I'm a sales manager, but I really just tell them I'm a client advocate. Because at the end of the day, that's what I'm doing. I'm just advocating for the client.
I like that. Client advocate. That's be good to add to the business card instead of salesperson.
Yeah, right. That's what I say. I call myself a client or a partner advocate and I do, because everything from helping build that solution and identifying the true solution that client needs, but all the way, for the life of that client. So it doesn't just stop at, hey, I signed paperwork, Ashley's pieced out. Not at all. I will always be there. I'll always be there to answer questions. I'll always be there to, help facilitate something should it need moved around in the company. I tell every client that before they even, decide to move their services to FusionConnect is that this is a lifelong relationship, and I truly enter into it thinking that and knowing that and wanting it to be that way. So it makes it
I love
way
that.
more fulfilling when I think of just helping them out and making sure their business is optimized instead of, hey, I'm looking for this sale.
Right. Well, and then to your point, looking beyond the transaction, right? And that's, I
Yeah.
think, what I love about the channel is as well is it's not so much maybe what I've done on the direct sales side in the past, where there is a transactional piece. It's more
Mhm.
about that relationship and like you said, being an advocate throughout the sales process, even post signature and post
Yeah.
install of whatever service it is. So
Yeah.
that's
I'll be
great.
the first one to say I've started saying instead of saying I'm winning the deal, is instead of looking at it as even winning, I look at it as earning. Like, give me the
Mhm.
opportunity to earn your business, to earn this opportunity, to earn this relationship or partnership. So that's kind of how I look at it.
I love that. So speaking of, you just said what you I guess wish people maybe did do. So let's look at the reverse. What's something that you wish salespeople either did less of or didn't do at all, as we talked about? Maybe they get a better rap for doing.
Yeah. There's probably a couple of those things too. But one of the biggest things I would love to see salespeople do less of is worrying about the deal. Like, stop selling. So on the same as like taking the sales out of selling, stop worrying about the deal. Instead of trying to get that one deal, look at it as a partnership and look at it more long term, and stop being, following up and like, hey, that email everyone gets, hey, I'm just following back around on this, basically, have you signed your paperwork yet? Not worrying about that, because when you're worrying about that signature coming in and that paperwork coming in and that opportunity closing for, your monthly quota, you stop losing sight of the client, what the client needs, and knowing the client's
Mm.
timeline and, what may be going into it on their end. So I would say what I would love to see people do less of is worrying about that one deal and worrying more about that relationship and that, that lifelong partnership you have with that client. Um, because it also makes the client feel a little more comfortable, because, we're in technology, moving your technology stack, or moving off of a legacy product and onto a newer strategic product, it's scary.
Mhm.
So when you take that into account and take into account all the things that they may be having to do on their end, and taking into perspective what they're going through, it makes it easier for both sides. So stop worrying about that one deal and that one monthly quota, because if it doesn't come in next month, it can come in, if it doesn't come in this month, it can come in next month or even the
Yep.
month after. It's going to come in, if you do it right and you show that you're earning their business, it's going to come in whether or not it's this month or next. So stop worrying about that monthly quota and that selling that one opportunity, and look at the bigger picture.
I love that. So really just the yeah, and operating on their timeline, maybe not
Yeah,
yours. Makes the most
exactly.
sense.
And
So
I think
everything
the customer feel more comfortable that way.
absolutely. Well, and everything you said really, I feel like ties together. You started out with active listening, right? If you ask the right questions and you're truly listening to understand and not be understood,
Mhm.
then you're going to understand what their timeline is. And maybe if they do have any hesitations, and you can also work backwards into maybe when you feel like that deal will close, because we do have to forecast, right? But
Yeah.
not getting quota breath and trying to close it too soon if
Mhm.
you would ask the right questions and active listen. So I
Yeah.
taken away the active listening piece, being the client advocate. So again, to your point, really building that lifelong relationship beyond signature, beyond
Oh,
install,
yeah.
to be seen as a trusted partner, trusted advisor, and yeah, maybe just not having the quota breath, right? Customers, partners, they all know we all have quotas, we all have
Right.
deadlines to meet, but not getting so caught up in trying to do that at a certain time period and looking at it as a lifelong, longer sales cycle, if you will.
We definitely have the quotas. We can't just ignore what we're here to do, but you can't lose sight of the client's needs. Ultimately, at the end
Yep.
of the day, you can't lose sight of that. And if you were, like you said, active listening in the beginning, you know their timeline. You already know when they need to implement, because when they were looking for it to be turned up. And then your follow up could be that, hey, you guys, I just wanted to touch base with you because I know that you're looking at X timeline, and and then just show them, hey, I was listening to you. I know your timeline.
Yep.
And we're getting closer to that. So just kind of a combination of all those.
I love it. No, great advice. So thank you. I know I'm even though I've been in sales quite a while, these are always good reminders. I'm sure someone out there listening has found value in this. So thanks for taking the time to share some thoughts for us, Ashley. So I'll round this out with something fun. We are approaching football season, and I know personally that's my favorite time of year. I'm a big college football fan here, but I'd love to hear as we're coming up to kickoff weekend. Who will you be rooting for? What colors are you going to be representing this year, Ashley?
So my sport is not quite starting because I'm all about some college, but let me tell you, this Southeast girl bleeds red and black. So go down.
Go Dogs. And I will say, guess what? I'm a bulldog too, so I will be well, you and I both coordinated the black and white today. We should have thrown in some red. So I'll be repping the Bulldogs with you too. Maybe I can get down there and see a game with you.
Yes.
But no, thanks again, Ashley. Really enjoyed connecting with you today.
My absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, of course. And I'd encourage everyone, find Ashley on LinkedIn, connect with her. And if you're not a member of ACW, would love for you to join. And if you are, would definitely love for you to check out some of our upcoming events. And again, Ashley's heading up the events committee. So I know she's got a lot of things she's getting planned in the works for us.
Wear your mask. That's all I've got to say.
All right. There's a little hint of what's to come. Thanks, Ashley. Have a good one.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.